Our solar system has a small, icy moon that appears completely calm and lifeless from the outside, but hidden within it is something that could shake humanity's understanding of the universe. What NASA recently confirmed is not the plot of a science fiction film, but reality. Beneath Saturn's moon, Enceladus, lies a deep, hidden ocean, and in that ocean, new organic molecules have been discovered that have left even scientists speechless. These are the very chemical building blocks from which life is made. The question is no longer whether there is water there, but whether something could be alive there. The geysers erupting from Enceladus's icy surface have been surprising before, but what has been found this time is far more advanced and mysterious. According to NASA's data, these molecules are not just ordinary, they are so complex that ignoring them is now impossible. If there are signs of life on another world, Enceladus has now risen to the top of that list. Imagine, millions of kilometers away from our planet, beneath the darkness and ice, a system is operating that could be similar to Earth's oceans. That's why today's video is not just news, but a question that will keep you hooked until the very last second, because as you proceed, each new piece of information will be more surprising than the last, and by the time you reach the end, your perspective might be completely transformed. For more such information, subscribe to the channel so you can be among the first to see these videos. When NASA first began paying attention to Enceladus, the expectation was simply that there might be water somewhere beneath the ice. Scientists thought that finding liquid water would be a major discovery in itself, as it's difficult to imagine life without water. But what has now been revealed has completely changed the picture. This discovery isn't just ordinary science news, because it's not just about the presence of water, but about the organic molecules that are considered the building blocks of life. In simple terms, these are the chemicals from which life can originate. NASA scientists themselves are surprised because their expectations were much lower. They thought that at most they would find ice, salt, and some traces of water, but the data that has emerged clearly shows chemical signatures associated with life. These aren't molecules that can be found just anywhere. Their formation requires specific conditions, energy, water, and the right chemical processes. And Enceladus seems to have all three. This is where the discovery becomes incredibly exciting. Because when the basic chemicals of life are found on another world, the question automatically arises, are there only chemicals there, or could something be alive? NASA isn't openly saying that there is life there, but they are certainly acknowledging that it's now impossible to take Enceladus lightly. This is the moment where science transcends mere news and becomes a mystery. And that's why this discovery is so significant that NASA itself was momentarily speechless, because perhaps we are not as alone in the universe as we have always thought. Enceladus's hidden ocean. What's happening beneath the ice? When we look at Enceladus from the outside, it appears to be just a cold, white, and utterly silent moon, as if nothing could possibly be alive there. But the truth is hidden beneath its surface. Beneath Enceladus's thick icy crust lies a vast ocean, filled not with frozen ice, but with liquid water. Now the biggest question is, why doesn't the water freeze despite the extreme cold? The answer is quite surprising. Heat is constantly emanating from within Enceladus, and this heat doesn't come from the sun, but from activity within the moon itself. Saturn's immense gravity continuously pulls and squeezes Enceladus, creating friction inside, and this friction keeps the water warm. This is why the water flows beneath the ice, much like the hydrothermal vents found beneath the ice in some regions on Earth. The most mysterious aspect of this hidden ocean is that plumes of water and ice erupt from it directly into space. These plumes are like secret doorways, allowing scientists to glimpse the world within. When NASA's spacecraft flew through these plumes, it detected signals that were astonishing. This ocean is considered similar to Earth's deep sea because it is also dark, under immense pressure, and yet potentially harbors conditions necessary for life. Even in the deepest parts of Earth's oceans, where sunlight never reaches, life exists. Enceladus's ocean could be something similar, calm, deep, and full of mysteries. Now let's talk about the organic molecules that make this whole story even more exciting. In simple terms, organic molecules are the chemicals that form the building blocks of life. Just as a house cannot be built without bricks, cement and steel, life requires certain specific chemicals. These molecules aren't life itself, but they are certainly the first step towards the formation of life. When scientists discovered them in Enceladus's geysers, they couldn't believe it, because these substances were highly unlikely to be found in a cold, icy world. The biggest mystery is how these organic molecules were formed. Have they been there for billions of years, or were they recently created through some chemical process? If hot rocks and water are interacting beneath Enceladus's ocean, then reactions could be occurring that spontaneously produce these molecules, just like what happens near hydrothermal vents in the depths of Earth's oceans. Life thrives there even without sunlight. This is what is making scientists so excited. Because if there isn't just chemistry happening there, but also some kind of microscopic life, then this discovery could become the greatest discovery in human history. Enceladus is no longer just a moon of Saturn. It has become a mystery that forces us to repeatedly ask the question, are we truly alone in this universe? Could there really be life on Enceladus? What are scientists afraid of? The biggest question now is, could there really be life on Enceladus? This is the question NASA is carefully avoiding answering directly. You'll notice that the word alien doesn't appear in any of NASA's reports, nor is there any outright claim that life exists there, but the language they are using speaks volumes. NASA knows that if it were to state definitively that life exists there, the entire world's attention would be focused on them. Therefore, scientists are speaking very cautiously. They are talking about data, about chemicals, about conditions, but leaving the conclusion to you. There's a rule in science: until there is concrete proof, no major claims are made. That's why NASA isn't saying that life exists there, but rather that the necessary conditions for life are present. Now consider this. If there is liquid water beneath the ice, a source of energy, and the chemical building blocks of life are also found, then the question naturally arises, why couldn't life exist there? But this is where the scientists stop, because they know that even one wrong word could become history or a laughingstock. This is where the real fear begins. Scientists are afraid that if they say something prematurely and it later turns out to be wrong, the credibility of all of science will be questioned. But there's an even bigger fear. If microbes are actually found in Enceladus's ocean, this discovery will divide human history into two parts: before the discovery of life and after. The question will no longer be just, are there aliens? But rather, who are we? It will happen. NASA is being very cautious because life doesn't always mean beings like humans. There might only be extremely small, invisible microbes living in the dark without oxygen. But would that be any less significant? Just think. If life is found anywhere else besides Earth, no matter how small, it would mean that life is not a miracle, but a natural process. And if that's the case, why would life be limited to just two places in the universe? This is what is making scientists uneasy. Because Enceladus is not alone. If life is possible there, then questions will arise about Europa, Titan, and other moons. NASA may not be saying it outright, but their mission plans speak volumes. Repeatedly studying Enceladus, taking samples from its geysers, and talking about sending more advanced missions there in the future. All these are indications that this is no ordinary matter. Now another question arises. If there is life there, should we even look for it? Some scientists fear that human presence might disrupt the natural system there. If there is microbial life, do we have the right to interfere with it? And if we do find it, are we prepared to accept that reality? These questions are more related to human philosophy than to science. That's why NASA is proceeding slowly. They are gathering evidence, but before making a pronouncement, they are considering every angle. Perhaps this is why they avoid the word alien, but repeatedly use phrases like life-supporting conditions. They are forcing us to think for ourselves. Is Enceladus just an icy moon, or the beginning of a story that will show humanity its true place in the universe? And perhaps the biggest mystery is this: if there is life there, when will we find the evidence? In the next mission? In the next 10 years? Or perhaps when we are mentally prepared for it? No one has the answer yet. Only questions remain. And these are the questions that make this whole story so fascinating, forcing you to wonder, are we truly alone in this universe, or is there still so much more for us to discover? If you liked the video, please subscribe to the channel, because we regularly bring you amazing and informative videos like this, so you can be the first to learn about every major discovery and mystery.